Hello guys, welcome to the next session of implementing CRUD operations using Angular version 16. So till now, as a part of this series, we have completed all the service side changes, which means we have completed all the REST APIs using Spring Boot version 3. So now today onwards, we are going to work on Angular project. So throughout this series, we are going to use Angular version 16 to implement all the UI changes. So in this session, we are going to see how we can set up the project on our local machine. Along with the project, we are going to set up Bootstrap, Angular material, and we are going to design some basic home page also. So let's see how we can do this. So first of all, what you have to do, you have to just make sure you are connected to the internet. Then the next thing that we have to do is we can just go to the folder wherever you want to create new project. So let me just go to the folder, and over here I just want to create a new project. So at this location I just want to open a new terminal. So if you're using like Mac, you can just use terminal, or else if you're using Windows, then you have to use command prompt. So let me just open a terminal, and then the command that we have to type is ng new, and we have to give the project name. In my case, I'll just give CRUD dash YouTube dash UI, or maybe we can just do one thing. I'll just check the name. So for services, I have used a name as a CRUD. So over here for the UI, I'll just use the name as CRUD dash UI, something like this, and let me just hit the enter. Now over here it will ask, would you like to add Angular routing? So yes, I like to add. So I'll just click on Y, and I'll hit enter. Then it is asking which style sheet you want to use. So I just want to use CSS. So let me just keep it as default, and let me hit the enter. So now it will just try to create one new project on the machine. So it might take some time. So let me just come back once the project is done. So now project is successfully created on my machine. The next thing that we can do, we can just open this particular project into the VS Code, or if you just want to use any other editor, you can just uh, use that editor. So let me just again open the new window of Visual Studio Code, and then over here what we have to do, we have to like open a new window, and then I just have to use open, and let me just browse the folder, something like this. So I have to just browse the folder that is CRUD dash YouTube, and then it will just open it into the VS Code. We have to just trust this folder, and yes. So now after opening the folder into the Visual Studio Code, very first thing that we have to do, we have to run one command. So let me just open the terminal, and the command that we have to run is npm install, and let me just hit the enter. Again, make sure you are connected to the internet. So basically it will not take much time as we are using Angular 16. And once this is done, what we have to do, we have to first of all, let me just close this terminal, and over here we have to first of all install the bootstrap jQuery, and then alongside we have to install Angular material. So as we have discussed in the introductory part of this series, we are just going to use bootstrap for kind of style purpose, and then we are just going to use Angular material so that we can use UI components from Angular material. So we have to install it. So again we have to open a new terminal, and then we have to type one new command, which is npm install bootstrap space jQuery, something like this, and let me just hit the enter. Now again we have to wait till it installs bootstrap and jQuery. So bootstrap and jQuery is installed. The next thing that we have to install is Angular material, but before that let me just take you to the Google Chrome, and let me just take you to the official site of Angular material. Over here you will find at the right hand side corner, you will find one button that is called as a theme, and over here you will find the different themes. So you will be like deep purple and amber, then indigo and pink. You can just choose any of the theme that you want, and you can just like see how the each and every theme looks like. You can just, by changing this, you will be able to see the look and feel on the UI itself. So whichever theme you want, you can just choose it. So let me just go back to the Visual Studio Code, and over here, in order to install the Angular material, we have to type one more command. So we have to type ng space add @angular/material. So let me just type this command, and let me just hit the enter. Now over here it should ask us the theme that we just want to use. So over here it will be like saying the package @angular material, and it is giving the version will be installed. Do you want to proceed? So I just want to proceed, so let me just use Y and let me hit the enter. And again it will take some time to install all the packages, so let me just wait till it installs the packages. So now packages are installed successfully. The next thing it will ask is to choose the theme. So I have chosen one theme. If you just want, you can just like choose whatever theme you want. And then next question that it is asking is like set up global Angular material typography styles. So I just want to set up these, so I'll click on S and let me just hit the enter. And then it is asking like whether do you want to include and enable animation. So yes, I just want to include, so let me hit the enter. And now it will just do some updates, and it will like we are good to go with the Angular material. The next thing that we have to do is, as we have installed the bootstrap, we have to like configure its script into our project. So let me just open a file which is having the name as angular.json. So let me just open this file, and inside this file you will find one array having the name as styles, and there is one more array having the name as scripts. So inside this we have to put some lines. So let me just go to this text editor, and don't need to worry about, I will just give all the script styles that I'm using in the description, and you can just check that out. So over here, if you just want to use a bootstrap, then we have to use this line into our styles array. So let me just enter this, and alongside inside the scripts we have to include these scripts. So let me just come to this and let me just paste it, and let me just format it, and let me just save this. Now once we are done with the pasting all these things, we are good to go with the bootstrap alongside Angular material. Just one thing that I just want to mention, on line number 28 you will be able to see the theme that we are currently using. So as of now I'm just using indigo dash pink. If you just want, and if you just want to change these, what you have to do, you have to just come to this particular line, and you have to just change the name of these themes. And from where you will get the names, you can just go to the Google Chrome and this particular website, and over here you will be able to see all the names that are there for the theme. So for example, if I just want to use deep purple, so what I can just do, I can just use it as, for example, deep purple dash amber dot css. So let me just copy it and let me just paste it something like this, and let me just save these changes. Alongside, if you just want, you can just like use any different theme that you want. The next thing that I can just do is I can just open a new terminal, and I can just first of all run the project by using ngserve command. Let's see how it looks like, whether we are able to run this project successfully or not. So let me just wait till the project runs successfully. So yes, now inside the Google Chrome, let me just use localhost 4200. So yes, our project is running successfully. The next thing that we have to do, we have to implement a navigation bar, and we have to implement a home page also. So for navigation bar and home page, we want two different components, so we have to implement those components. So let me just go to the VS Code again, and let me just use Control C in order to stop the current execution. And then over here we have to like use a command ngGC, which is nothing but ng generate component, and let me just give header for header component, and we have to generate one more for home. So let me just give it as a home component, something like this. The next thing that we have to do, we have to configure some path. So let me just close this terminal, and let me just first of all go to the src, then app, and we are interested in app dash routing.module.ts file. Over here we have to configure a path. So first of all we have to give a path for header component. So let me just give a path header, and we have to use a component which is our header component, something like this. And after that we have to use a path for home. So for home we don't have to give any path, we have to just give empty single quotes. Make sure for home page you are giving empty single quotes. And then for component we have to use home component, something like this. Now let me just save these changes. The next thing that we have to do is we have to uh, go to this index.html, not in index.html, we have to go to this app.component.html file, and we have to remove all these changes. And over here what we have to do, we have to first of all include our header component. So if you just want to know how you can include, we can just go to the header component, and we can just go to the header.component.ts file, and then you can just copy this particular selector, and this selector is nothing but you can just use that particular component. So we have to give it as a tag, something like this. And now let me just save these changes. Now again we haven't done anything in the header component, but as of now let me just restart my application. Let's see how it is looking like right now, and then we will just go to the angular material and we will just include header also. Now let me just refresh this application. So as of now if you just see, we are getting one message like header works, which means our header component is working as expected. Now let me just go to the website for angular material, and then we have to go to the components. Then we have to search for navigation or maybe navbar. So let me just try to first of all search over here navigation. Okay, so we have to search for toolbar, not a navigation. So let me go to the toolbar, and then you can go to the examples, and over here you will find the different examples that we have for the toolbar. So I just want to use these simple toolbar, so I will go with this. So in order to see the code, you can just click on this view code button, and then you can just copy this particular code. So let me just copy the very first toolbar, which is our simple toolbar, and let me just come back to the VS Code. Let me just go to the header.component.html file, and let me just remove this code, and let me just paste this code, and let me just format this code also. And now let me just save these changes. Now let me just come back. As of now over here you are getting one error. The reason is you have to include the module. So if you just go to the documentation and if you just go to the API, then over here if you just see, we have to import this mat toolbar module. So we can just copy this line, and we can just come back to the VS Code, and then we can just go to the app.module.ts file, and then we can just give this particular line, and then we have to copy this mat toolbar module, and then we have to like give the comma inside the imports array, and we have to paste it, something like this. Now we can restart the application, and this time it should run as expected. Now if you just see, we are able to see like the navigation bar. In order to give the color, what we have to do, we have to come to the header component HTML file, and then for the mat toolbar we have to give color is equals to primary, something like this. And yes, you will be able to see the primary color over here. The next thing that I want to do is I just want to design a home page. And in order to design the home page, first of all let me just go back to the VS Code, and then inside my app.component.html, first of all what we have to do, we have to give a router link. So we have to give router outlet. So we have to give router dash outlet, something like this. Let me just save these changes. Let's see how it looks like. So if you just see, as soon as you included router outlet, you will be able to see the home works over here, because um, for the home component we haven't given any path. So Angular automatically detects that at the very first Angular have to show this particular home page. So that is the reason it is by default giving us the home works. That means our home component is included successfully. So on the home component, I just want to show the grid system. So again, if I just go to the Angular material, you will be able to find a grid list. So again, you can just go to the overview, maybe the examples, and inside the examples, you will be able to find this code. What you have to do, you have to just copy this particular code and you have to just paste it to the home component. So let me just go to the uh, home.component.html and let me just paste these lines. Let me just format it. Now let me save it and let me just go back. And over here, as of now, we are getting again issues. The reason is we have to include the grid list module. So we can just go to the API. We have to copy the very first line. We can just come back and we can go to the app.module.ts, and then we have to import this inside the imports array, something like this. Now let me just save these changes. We can come back to the Google Chrome, and if you just see, we are getting this 1 2 3 4, but we haven't copied the styles. So let me just go back to the examples and let me just go to the view code, and if you just see, we have the CSS. So we can just copy this CSS and we can paste this CSS inside home.component.css file, something like this. And now if you just see, we will be able to get this grid system on the home page. I just want to put some gap from left and right hand side. I just want to put some margins. So what I can just do, I can just use a container. So container is nothing but a bootstrap class. So what I can just do, I can just use one division and we can just apply the class called as a container, and inside this division we can just use this grid system, something like this. And now if you just see, it looks quite good. Then the next thing that we have to do, we have to like give some space between each and every component. So that is the reason what I am just going to do is I'm just going to use a gutter size. So gutter size is nothing but a property which is given by the Angular material itself. So you can just use this particular property. And again, if you just see, whatever value you will give, you will be able to see some gap in between each and every grid. And if you just want to put some margin from the top, you can also put some margin, and for that we can just use empty-5, which is bootstrap class, which is nothing but margin top 5, something like this. Now it looks quite good. The next thing that I just want to do is I have like use or I have created some images in order to like show the different examples. So I'm just going to use those images. So let me just go to the my desktop, and over here I have these two images. Let me just copy these images and let me just come back to the VS Code and let me just paste it inside my assets folder. So let me just find it. Let me just try to open this in a finder, and then let me just paste those images over here, something like this. And now you will be able to see those images. The next thing I just want to do, for the very first, I just want to use img src, and over here I just want to use asset folder. So I have to give asset and I just want to give the simple CRUD operations as an image. And again, for remaining, I just want to give some other image which is nothing but a coming soon. So let me just give it as a, and let me just copy the same image for third also, because as of now we will be working only on first option. That is the reason I have just given the very first option. and for remaining I have just given the image as a coming soon. If I just show you into the VS Code, it will be into the Google Chrome, it will be looking something like this. And now if you just want, you can just remove the background color. I just don't want to show the background color, so let me just come back to the home component.css and let me just remove this background color. And now if you just see, it is looking as expected, right? So this is how we have implemented our very first home page. And from the next session onwards, we will be working on the very first tile, which is simple CRUD operations, and we are going to use all the REST APIs that we have implemented till the last session, and we are just going to generate different forms, and we are just going to work on different actions which are required for the simple CRUD operations. So I hope you got the idea like how you can create a project, install the bootstrap Angular material on your machine, and how you can include some of the Angular material UI components into the Angular project. If you still have any questions, let me know into a comment section and I will try my best to help out in that case. I hope you enjoyed this session. I'll see you in the next session.